What if Rey doesn't actually have parents in the traditional sense? What if Rey was just the result of an experiment to not just clone a human being, but outright manufacture one? It's been a while since we've done a little bit of Star Wars speculation around here, and what better topic to revisit than Rey? There has been a handful of intriguing new info lately in various canon material, most recently and probably most importantly in the book Aftermath Life Debt. More and more, it's looking like the planet of Jakku is much more than just some desert junkyard. We don't know nearly the extent of its significance just yet, but it certainly appears to indeed have some kind of major significance. Now, admittedly, I haven't read Aftermath Life Debt just yet, but I've done plenty of homework on it, and at this point, it seems impossible to be anything other than incredibly intrigued by just how important Jakku was to Emperor Palpatine. At this point, we know that some or all of Jakku, as well as a lot of unknown deep space, was important to Palpatine because he believed it might hold the knowledge and origin of the power of the dark side. Because of this, there were at least several labs and communication stations built way off in those unknown regions, and then obviously the Imperial research facility and excavation project on Jakku. So where does Rey fit in all of this? We know that whatever experiments were going on at the Jakku research lab were very secretive, and that's presumably the case for the other labs built in deep space. So what if Rey was the result of that super secret experimentation going on in these labs? And no, not cloned from Luke Skywalker's severed hand, but just a life created from scratch, possibly with the hope of being infused with the power of the dark side. Presumably with that dark side power coming from whatever it was that Emperor Palpatine believed was on Jakku and in those unknown regions of space. And what if she was the only successful experiment of her kind, an achievement big enough that word about her existence managed to leak out among certain prominent figures among both the First Order and the Resistance? Now, obviously we don't have much else besides just those couple dots to connect to suggest that this might actually be the case, but the same can kind of be said for literally every other theory about Rey's origins. It still leaves the mystery as to how exactly Rey got back to Jakku, as well as the mystery as to why whoever it was she knew of or presumed to be her family actually ended up leaving her there. But if she really was some experiment in creating a person from scratch who was strong in the Force, it could explain why each one of Kylo Ren, Luke, and Leia all sort of seem to know who she is. I get that this all sounds crazy, and I don't mean to say that I necessarily think that this is the key to Rey's origins just yet, but more so kind of a fresh take and new perspective on things, given a little bit of new information that we have. It's looking less and less like Rey was just there by coincidence, and that there very well could possibly be some tie between Palpatine's projects and Rey. Given this new info about Palpatine's obsession with Jakku and the possibility that Rey may indeed have been some kind of experiment, I could not help but revisit a set of comments that I got on a video over 6 months ago speculating about Rey's origins that I absolutely had to revisit after learning this stuff. Now, obviously, take this with a huge grain of salt and try to just have fun with it, but this person claimed to have a general description of Rey's origin through a personal relationship with someone at Lucasfilm. Again, it's unlikely that such info would ever be leaked like this, so just try to have fun with this. But that person said she doesn't have parents per se, not in the natural sense, and that she was engineered, possibly having something to do with some ancient Jedi DNA code. At least that's the brief summary of that comment. If some ancient Jedi DNA code was indeed a thing, wouldn't you think it's possible that there could be a dark side DNA code as well that may have been tinkered with here? Or it even could have been the Jedi DNA code that Palpatine aimed to discover, which was eventually used to create Rey, a naturally strong Force user, in hopes of turning her to the dark side. Anyway, I'm gonna cut myself off from digging there before I get too much deeper into crazy speculation. The significance of Jakku, though, as well as other Imperial research labs seeking out origins of the dark side, is an insanely intriguing new inclusion into current canon, and I'm eager to see where they go with it all from here. I've said pretty much all along that I'm fairly confident that whatever route they choose to go with telling the story of Rey's origins, that they're going to tell that story in a satisfactory manner. But when new bits of information are still coming out in new canon materials, it's still a lot of fun to speculate about it all. Anyway, that is all the theorizing I have for today. I know that today's theory is absolutely a crazy one, and I don't mean to say that I necessarily think that this is true, but I'm having a lot of fun with this whole new bit of speculation, given the new info we have from Aftermath Life Debt. So I'd be curious to know other people's thoughts. Obviously, hit up the comments if you have any of those. If you enjoyed this video, please click that like button. You know I always appreciate that. A lot of you do that, and I think that's awesome. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, do so. As we get closer to more Star Wars movies, there's obviously going to be some more Star Wars videos. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those. But above all else, everybody, thanks so much for watching.